Hello, friends. Today we are having another round of podcast, Dil Tak with Pradeep. And today we have a guest, very eminent senior advocate from Orissa, but he has been practicing in larger courts like Supreme Court advocate. Also, he is attached to many high courts of India. He is known for his credible fight against injustice, and his clients have now what we could know from him that not only in India, he has some clients from abroad also, for which he has been taking cases, and in most cases he has won. He has also fought certain cases in favor of public through PIL, which we will talk about in due course of a discussion. He is Mr. Goutam Kumar Acharya, a senior advocate. So, Mr. Acharya, I welcome you to this particular issue of our podcast, Dil Tak with Pradeep.
Namaskar.
I welcome you. Thank you. So, to start with, I will request you to give some brief introduction of yours, and how could you enter into this particular profession, and you will also discuss something about your hobbies and all. Just brief introduction in this particular episode.
Before I start telling about myself and my profession, I would like to thank Mr. Pradeep for having invited me to this particular podcast and to share my views and ideas. Now, coming to my career, in fact, it won't be wrong if I say that I am an accidental lawyer, because I was always in the commerce field and I did my master's in commerce, and I wanted to do some kind of a business, but all of a sudden one fine morning I decided that I should do law, and I joined law, completed my law, and thereafter I started my profession. And when I started my profession, I was one among very few lawyers way back in the late 80s, and I started my practice in the Honorable Supreme Court of India sometime around 88-89, and only about a dozen of Oriya lawyers were practicing in Supreme Court, or it may be less also. I practiced there for almost more than 20 years. Thereafter, I came back to Orissa for being with my parents because they were getting old. And since 2007 onwards, I have been in Orissa, practicing in Orissa High Court, but I do travel extensively across the country, attending different high courts, including the Supreme Court. This is how I started my journey as a lawyer.
Very nice. I believe that's something interesting, that from accounts to getting into legal profession, that's a very interesting journey all the way. And I know that you are a family person, because what I could know that not only you are a family person, you love like anybody, you love your parents as well as your kids, and not only that, your associates. And most of the time I find that you enjoy being with them. So how do you manage all these things despite your busy schedule?
Actually, right now I have got about 20 associates working with me. I have offices in Delhi also. I have got about 3-4 associates in Delhi, couple of them in Bombay, and about 17-18 in my Cuttack and Bhubaneswar office. As to be very frank, actually, when I work with my associates in my office, I never treat them as my associates. I rather treat them as my own children, and I have that close proximity with them, and I am very open to them, and they are also very free and frank to me, discussing all their difficult times and how to learn and have a faster pace in the legal profession. So that is the bond I am sharing with my associates with myself, which is really a very big advantage as far as my associates are concerned. And I have made a target. In fact, whoever comes and joins my office, as it's rightly said, it takes about 4 to 5 years for a lawyer to get established in this profession. So I tell my associates, those who join my office, I tell them, if the target is 5 years, you should put in that much of time and dedication and effort in this profession and try to complete it in 2 years, so that by the end of 2 years you should be fully ready to start your own practice. So that kind of sharing and bonding I have with my associates.
By the way, one small question, because many people say, as you said, it takes time to be get recognized in this profession because of large number of competition and difficult working condition. how do you suggest young people to get into legal profession? Because the time, peak time, it only comes after 10 years or 12 years or 15 years of hard work. So what do you suggest? Is it right to wait till that time to get matured enough to take cases independently?
No, actually, it really takes a lot of time for this profession. For this profession? Any profession you want to start, it takes some time to get established and settle down. But one has to remember in mind, and this I'm talking mostly for the young lawyers who are going to join this profession, or who are planning to take law as a career and get into any good law colleges or institutions. There is no shortcut for this profession. First, you have to be absolutely punctual, dedicated and honest to this profession, and not only to this profession, you have to be honest to your clients. And supposing a client comes to you with a case, now after you study the case, if you think there is less possibility of your winning, so you should be bold enough to tell your clients, you see, I've gone through your papers and I don't think you have a very good case, and you just have maybe supposing 20-30% of success. So you should have that much of courage to tell your clients, this is what we stand, where we stand, and if the client agrees, then you proceed. But now invariably what happens, so particularly the younger generation, most of the lawyers, I mean, I'm not making any adverse remark, but it's a human tendency. When a client comes, they say, okay, no, we have a good chance, we'll fight and we will win. But actually that should not happen that way.
Okay, so it's a very critical and typical point which you said about, with most of the advocates or lawyers don't rather confuse their clients and try to link the case the way they want. So now coming to a very important point, how common man and why common man should be, they remain very skeptical to go to court or take the help of lawyers. What are the reasons and why they hesitate?
The basic reason, what I feel, the common man thinks that the lawyer's profession, or the lawyers for that matter, would be a very expensive affair if they go and approach them for any particular cases. And that is one aspect, the cost factor. And the second aspect is the timing, because as everyone knows, in the Indian legal system, there is a huge, tremendous backlog. So people want immediate justice, but which they cannot get. So this is another reason why most of the people, they think, why go to court, rather let us try out of court mediation, which right now also the Supreme Court is also encouraging to go for alternative dispute resolution. So these are the basic two things what I foresee.
Okay, now in last probably this is 18-19 years you have been practicing, and which I believe that for any lawyer is not a very long period of time. Despite a very short period of 18 years, you have established yourself as one of the eminent lawyers of Orissa. Can you just elaborate one or two cases of your profession which you feel that you are very proud of that, and you made some remarkable achievement and won the case in favor of a client?
No, let me stand corrected. Actually, I have put in more than 35 years of practice in this profession. As far as my coming back to Orissa from Supreme Court, that is about 2017, so almost about 17-18 years. But otherwise, total in all, I have put in more than 35 years of practice. Now, coming to the important cases, what I have handled so far, I have done many cases, but I'll just name one or two. One important case is like we had filed a public interest litigation in the Orissa High Court, praying to direct the state government to install PET CT scan machines in different important cities of Orissa, because as all of us know, and these days cancer is rapidly spreading, and cancer is a very expensive disease for being treated upon. And unfortunately, what happened till last year, none of the government medical colleges in Orissa, they had a PET CT scan, and PET CT scan by itself costs about 25,000 rupees per per sitting. And invariably, if we see a cancer patient who is detected with cancer during the phased treatment, at least he has to go for 2 to 3 PET CT sittings. And so we filed a case in the Orissa High Court asking for the court to direct the state government to install PET CT scan. And through our own efforts, and the state government was directed by the by our Honorable High Court to install PET CT scan. And already in the Cuttack Cancer Institute, Acharya Regional Cancer Institute, PET CT scan has already been installed, and now patients are getting free of cost treatment. And now we are still in the process of pursuing upon this case so that another 3 centers can be established in Orissa. One is in Berhampur, one is towards Sambalpur or Jharsuguda, and one in Baleswar, so that all the people across the state, they get this benefit.
And the credit should go to you.
I can't really say. I have done it for a general cause of our people of Orissa.
Any other case apart from this which you like to highlight?
Recently, I did one case on visitation. Actually, this is a visitation, though, is absolutely a right of any of the parents to have access to the child. But here, what happened in one of a particular case which I was handling, the family court rejected the rights of visitation as far as the father is concerned and the grandparents. So we came to the Honorable High Court asking for a direction to be given to the wife with whom the minor child was staying, and the High Court, through our effort, through our own line of arguments, finally directed the wife to allow visitation to the not only to the husband and also to the grandparents.
Okay.
So that was very, very important, because, and in fact, if I am not wrong, possibly this is the first case in Orissa, as far as my knowledge goes, that the grandparents were also given access for visitation, which is absolutely something very remarkable.
Okay. Now, as I could see, and I have little acquaintances by this time, you have a lovely team, you enjoy and manage your family very well. So how do you manage all these things and keep everybody happy? And must be, I'm sure that you take time to go for outing, enjoying your holidays, How do you manage? Again, I'm asking this question because I believe that something more interesting should come from you.
In fact, to be very honest, because I have been very active in social media, and whenever I interact with my associate, with my team, and whenever we celebrate anything, now supposing we get a good judgment, I ensure that the entire team, we sit together, we have a party kind of a thing, and I upload those things in the social media. So many of my colleagues, they get very jealous. Rather, they say, why are you doing this? I mean, why are you encouraging your associates to that extent? But I really don't care. And because I personally feel that associates are part of myself.
Yes.
If I grow, my associates grow. And if my associates grow, and back to back, I also grow. So I ensure that my associates get the best of treatment in my office at least.
That's very nice. And what about your hobbies and all? Because you travel, I believe, often, and probably you enjoy driving also. How do you do all these things?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Though I don't have much of hobbies, but one of my major hobby is traveling.
Okay.
And this traveling gets through my own professional work, because as I told in the beginning, I travel across the country, appearing in different high courts and the Supreme Court. For that matter, when I travel to a new place, so automatically my traveling hobby is taken care of. Mm-hmm. So that is one aspect. Yes, I am fond of cars, and right now I've got 8 cars in my garage.
Oh my God!
So that's my passion.
Okay. That's very nice. And anything which you want to add, because I believe that we need to explore more your achievements, because I believe these cases are not enough about your credibility. So you must be having some other interesting case like that also, which maybe the personal case, maybe PIL, or maybe something which you fought for government, in favor of government, something like that, which you like to talk about.
Yes, another important case what I would like to share in this platform is Because earlier what used to happen, now supposing if a FIR is registered against a particular person, so that person is treated as an accused as far as the FIR is concerned, and that accused is not entitled to get a copy of the FIR during the time of investigation or after the FIR is registered. So lot of under the table things used to take place for getting a copy of the FIR. So in order to prevent that, what I did, I filed a public interest litigation in the Orissa High Court sometime in I think 2013 or 14, where the Honorable High Court directed that the accused has a right to get a copy of the FIR, and the court directed that once the FIR is registered, within 24 hours the FIR has to be uploaded in the Orissa police website, so that anyone who wants to get a copy of the FIR, he can easily download that. Now interesting thing is, after this order was passed, the state government, they did not want to accept this order. They went in appeal to the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court also upheld the order of the High Court, and now that has become the law of the land. So by this process, not only the state of Orissa, in the entire country the people have got this benefit.
That's right. Now, I believe we will take a small question, but very pertinent one. And everybody is now worried about that. The government, it is not related to directly to your or a legal profession, but as a conscious citizen, you must be also feeling about how these things like connecting, dispensing petrol to the vehicles which do not have the PUCC certification, and then impounding the vehicle or putting exorbitant fine against the vehicles. How do you see as a common man, is it really right in the way the government or maybe STA, there's a state transport authority, along with the Ministry of Transportation imposed restrictions that if you don't have PUCC you won't get fuel. Is it really right way of handling such cases?
I really don't agree to what the government had decided, rather saying that if you don't have a pollution certificate in your vehicle, petrol cannot be given. If I'm not wrong, there are a couple of judgments of the Supreme Court where it has said petrol cannot be denied to a person or owner of a vehicle if he doesn't have a pollution certificate. There can be other penalty, that's fine, but petrol by any means cannot be denied to a rightful owner of a vehicle, only on this mere ground of pollution certificate not being there. And secondly, I would rather say this pollution certificate for a vehicle in question really doesn't solve the pollution issue.
Yes.
There are other major issues. Rather, the state government or the central government, they have to take initiative and see how this pollution can be reduced through other means of enforcement. Like there are so many industries are coming up. So the pollution control board of each state, so they should be given more stringent directions to ensure that pollution is checked at that grassroots level itself.
People started objecting because at one hand we talk about reducing carbon and all these things. Other hand, if you remember Aravalli Hills deforestation cases, maybe in favor of a particular industrialist, the entire the hill range, Aravalli range, is now under threat. And Aravalli Hill range, probably, if anybody knows about the geography, protects a major part of India from desert as well as the cold waves and all these things. So how do you see these kind of judgments ignoring the public interest and also a threat to environment, threat to the life, threat to the quality of air and all, and where government virtually, I just came to know yesterday that government, Supreme Court has really put one stay on that, so to review the decision. And something very interestingly, that any hill range which is lower than 100 meter will not be treated as a mountain hill. So how do you see this case?
No, you see, now the central government has also set up a tribunal called the National Green Tribunal that is purely established for checking pollution and environmental issues. So they are playing a major role. In fact, I have appeared in a couple of cases also where the NGT has also ensured that the pollution is checked at different levels through mining operations, etc. And that apart, also the Supreme Court is also heavily coming up on different polluting industries, like as you said about the Aravalli Hills. Now Supreme Court has intervened and they have put a stay on further activities in that zone is concerned.
Okay. So with this, I'd like to say thank you, Mr. Goutam Acharya, who from his busy schedule made again a journey from Cuttack to Bhubaneswar to attend this podcast on my request. So thank you very much, and I believe that today's podcast will give some kind of inputs to the audience who will benefit from this. Thank you once again.
Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you.